Good day everybody. Today we will talk about the article of a Time Agon in the Air, which describes some of the health conditions which can occur because of flying. I'm Anna and I will explain some of the health conditions. The first one being the deep vein thrombosis, also called DVT, which is the forming of a blood clot in one or several deep veins. It occurs more frequently in legs. The main cause of it is prolonged seating in a place with limited mobility, for example in an aircraft. The blood clot can also detach itself and travel through the bloodstream into organs where it can cause some complications, for example a pulmonary embolism or a stroke. The best way to avoid a DVT would be a good communication, and a lot of airlines nowadays are informing their passengers about precautionary measures which they can take in order to avoid a DVT. For example, wear loose clothing, wear support stockings, drink a lot of water and don't take strong medication. Another risk would be to contract a disease during the flight, and the main cause of contracting a disease during a flight is of course the proximity to other passengers, but also the low humidity in the aircraft can dry out the nasal passages, which increases the probability to contract the disease. This issue has resurfaced with a new intensity because of a COVID-19 pandemic, because the population was afraid to contract the virus during flying. But the new research has proven that the HEPA filter are quite effective in eliminating bacteria and viruses. The obligatory mask, which the passengers has to wear at all times during the flight, decreases even more the risk. Fans and filters renew the air in just 6 minutes. And a lot of countries, but also airlines, are asking the passengers to make a COVID test 72 hours or 48 hours before flying, decreasing like this even more the risk to contract a virus. Another risk factor would be cancer. Female flight attendants are actually twice as likely to get breast cancer. This is because the radiation in high altitude is actually 265 times higher than on the ground, and during a transatlantic flight the crew and the passengers are exposed to a radiation equal to 2 chest X-rays. This is why a lot of airlines don't let their female pregnant employees work on an aircraft during their pregnancy. As you can see, air rage is another factor that we have to consider. Air rage is a violent behavior from the passengers during the flight. The main cause is normally a combination of different factors, for example flight phobia, stress, fatigue, eventual delays of flight. And if a passenger has consumed before the flight or during the flight alcohol or has an existing psychological illness, the probability to engage in such a violent behavior is even higher. The high cabin pressure can cause also some problems to those passengers who have already a pre-existing lung and heart condition. But as the article states, the passenger might be actually the biggest health risk existing, because a passenger, for example, who knows that he has a virus, that he can be a risk for other passengers and the crew, may decide to fly although he knows this, and just because he doesn't want to renounce on his vocation.
Hello, I am Gaspar Valles and I'm going to talk about airlines' healthcare conflicts. To ensure the health and safety of the passengers is an essential point of the air transportation industry. Historically, airlines have had conflicts in areas of responsibility due to sanitary problems, and the management of measures to solve these problems has marked the evolution of the industry. The first case that we want to talk about is the COVID safety measures in airlines. Nowadays, during the global pandemic that the world is suffering due to COVID-19, the airlines have been dealing with a conflict between passenger safety and profit. The airlines have been forced to implement some measures to ensure the health of passengers, but some of these measures have made it difficult to obtain benefit for the airlines. As a consequence, some airlines have tried to play with the application of healthcare measures to the limit, like selling more seats than they should do, not conditioning the cabin to provide fresh air faster, or not ensuring the distance of 1.5 meters between passengers to accomplish the safety distance. Some passengers have denounced the behavior of the airlines to the OMS. Another point of interest in this topic is the anxiety and health problems related to air travel. This is the main healthcare problem that the air travel companies have been battling since the beginning of air transportation industry. The anxiety related to being afraid of flying causes the loss of a large number of customers, and in some cases, panic on board. Sometimes the people who suffer from fear of flying are forced to take planes for reason of force majeure, and while they are on board, suffer panic attacks and cause the plane to have to make an emergency landing, causing the loss of time, money, and annoying the other passengers who had the plans already made. And the last disease that we would like to treat and that suffered great conflict between the safety measures and the airlines is the flu A. And in 2009, there was another disease that threatened the air transportation economy, and that case was the flu A. The airlines with flights from the affected areas had to separate and isolate travelers in case of having these flu symptoms. And if any case were detected, the aircraft commander would have the obligation to inform the control tower, which would activate immediately the communication with the personnel of the Ministry of Health at the transport. And in case it is found that among the passage there are a person affected by swine flu, according to protocol against the international spread of disease of the World Health Organization and IATA, the airlines should carry out a treatment of microbiological disinfection in the airplanes.
Hello, my name is Isabel, and I will explain the different strategies to fight this problem. Due to the different situations of weak health, it would be necessary to establish different strategies or implement a health safety campaign regarding flights, using strategies and setting general objectives at an industrial level. We focus the campaign at the industrial level since we avoid problems of competition and differentiation, and we believe that since it is health issue, it is not appropriate to create conflicts between different companies. We have been analyzing the different situations, and we have studied various strategies to carry out an action in the future within a health security campaign. We have divided these strategies into main parts. So the first part deals with communication and information strategies. And in this part, we believe that it would be necessary to carry out information strategies, create information documents with relevant information on the damage that can be caused when flying, and in this case, how the damage can be avoided or reduced, and including too information on clothing necessary to avoid problems such as poor blood circulation or respiratory problems and so on. In this part, we also include the communication. The communication is very important, and all the companies and the industry need to be continuously informed and communicated with the health center, more specifically with the OMS, and always keep updated the disease report at that time in order to carry out solutions as soon as possible. On the other hand, leaving the more theoretical part, we will focus on the material and physical strategies that we have thought for our campaign. In the first place, we believe it is necessary to always disinfect the plane. disinfect the plane with highly regulated hygiene measures, and revive it before each flight by some health inspectors. Also check that all precautions are in good conditions. All the companies must offer a toilet and hygienic kit to each passenger or customer. And an innovation that we want to carry out is to create an app that can be used without mobile data, in which in case of a health emergency or any type of doubt, can be read and consulted and see the necessary measures to reduce this problem. And that's all.